Pat, great to have you with us. You're launching in Burger King's nationwide with the Impossible Whopper starting next week.
Right.
You've had supply constraints in the past. What gives you the confidence that this time you'll be ready?
Well, we had, I would say, impossible to predict a huge surge in demand earlier this year. We had been planning for growth, but nothing that big. As soon as we realized that demand was outpacing our supply, we scrambled to scale up production at our site in Oakland. We have increased production out of Oakland more than threefold in the past 2 or 3 months. We've doubled the staffing there. And we just announced a partnership with OSI, one of the biggest food manufacturers in the world, that will, again, increase our capacity and our ability to scale massively. So I think we've figured out a solution to the problem, have caught up with the demand. I think our restaurant customers can have confidence that we'll be able to supply them from now on without a break.
That being said, Burger King is your top partner, and partnerships drive top-line growth. There's been a land grab of sorts between you and Beyond Meat over these partnerships. Should these supply constraints come up again, how do you prioritize Burger King over some of your other partnerships?
Well, the whole idea here is we never want to have to face that question. So we are extremely confident, completely confident, that we'll be able to supply all the demand that Burger King has and the growing number of other restaurants.
Kelly Evans has a question from the studio now.
Aditi, thanks. And Pat, it's great to see you. I was just going to say, you guys were all the rage until the Beyond Meat IPO, and they've kind of stolen the limelight now. Do you believe you have the better product? And if so, how do you get the limelight back?
Well, I think we have the best product of any kind, the best burger of any kind on the market. But it's really for consumers to make that call. And the competition that we're focused on is not any other plant-based meat producer, but the animal-based meat production system, and that's a very high bar, and that's what keeps us innovating.
Is it much more challenging for you when you're competing now with Beyond Meat with all of the capital they've been able to raise thanks to the public markets?
To be honest, it's really not a big issue for us. I think to put it in perspective, between Impossible Foods and Beyond Meat, we share less than 1% of the U.S. market for ground beef. The other 99% is still out there. And it would be crazy for us to focus on Beyond Meat as the competition. We're focused on the other 99%. And there's huge potential for growth there. And we have no shortage of demand.
When you're watching Beyond Meat's stock just skyrocket, you're a private venture-backed company. Your investors include Bill Gates, Khosla Ventures, Google, Katy Perry, and Jay-Z. What kinds of conversations are you having with executives about going public or even a possible sale? Do you feel any pressure or that the window has closed?
First of all, we've never had any intention to sell the company. I think that you can pretty much rule that out. As far as going public, of course, it comes up frequently. We've been very lucky to have great investors, no shortage of great investors when we need money to support our growth. And so from a financial standpoint, there's no urgency to go public. From a mission standpoint, we want to make sure that we're in a position where we can continue to do the innovation we need to do and everything we need to do to scale our growth to completely replace animals in the food system by 2035. Right now, I think it's not the right time for us to go public. We'll definitely. You'll be one of the first to know.
We hope so. Part of Beyond Meat's success has been these partnerships with chains like Dunkin' Donuts, Tim Hortons. Steve Easterbrook of McDonald's, the CEO, has indicated that they are watching this space very closely. Have you been talking to McDonald's, or does your partnership with Burger King, is that exclusive and prohibit that?
Well, I wish I could answer that question, but I think that's kind of sensitive information that we have commitments to the counterparties not to talk about publicly.
Are you able to covet McDonald's?
We have talked to pretty much everyone who is, selling meat products commercially or, at retail or in food service. At some point, when you think about it, if we're going to completely replace animals in the food system by 2035, it follows that ultimately all those guys are going to be our customers.
Another chain CEO of Chipotle recently said he wouldn't put alternative proteins on their menu because it's just too processed for their menu. How do you respond to that?
Well, I think it's crazy because people think of processed foods as like salty junk foods made by food manufacturers that really don't care that much about the health of the consumers. We are incredibly conscientious about the health of our consumers. We're very deliberate in choosing the ingredients. The fact is, it's processed in the same way that a loaf of bread is processed, where you deliberately choose a set of ingredients, you grind the wheat, you mix it with yeast and water and salt, and then bake it. Every food in your diet involves some processing. Ours is really no more processed than something you'd buy in a fancy restaurant.